from like Black Media. Ivan Che a socialist na and some Ivan Che can some ketua watu jade bufukasi pa ede and womesia ede wura mame Sophia Akuffu etinimu pa impo waka ba besi se o pese uhunu nyansafo a enye emfie na enye adwono emu nemum asamo ba dese wo hwe asam na aba no enkrofo nsem mo beka ene comment enkrofo de befiri ho beba eno ene manwu se nipa we sei we nyansafo emfa oni mfi ahwadi afei eno no Ivan Che ehunu se no mame Sophia Akuffu wanini de wasua de pa kasa obi ebon homa mame abon homa basi judicially mame ni made pa nanso adwene pa efre se efi adwene no mame no enibi edienti ena Ivan Che kasa wusa yebekọ akọje nchiremu na netie wo mu nyina no enti awo kasa asem no the removal of Chief Justice Saki Araba President John Dramani Mahama ne committee etena nsem no so no mu yi ne firi ho no no eno ena nam so a ema ne kasa akyere se wose maame no se wosua de akọ akyire ne so ni made se ne nkrofo bibile ni mu na enkeni kwa so beka comment we say edefa the removal of Chief Justice Torkonoo ene ebusia uhwe japa Ivan Che atoto ene constitution 1992 constitution a wono ebie mu pa de akere maame Sophia Akuffu ebusia enye ize waka nsem bebre ampese waka nkwaje nchiremu ne afofra no woka efa ho besisi abuja baby a wo hwe me bia wo haw ne amane kodan na bia da eda wo so bia no bomode se unimi bedi nkomo ye de samna nwanwaso bi aba ye fre ne se eye sika kokko na gold samna wo haw bia da eda wo so bia wo hia sa samna we se bi afi wo ye bema wo hwe me wo bema sam wo pom bema ye ketwa brabeji bula matali eduro bi na wo bema enye kesi watimi abo adwuma so ache ewo empem ye de akwankyere bi aba abuja no ye hwehwe wo hyebrem a ye fre ne se mpelifo akwankyere ana se wo betima fre back to sender onipa bi ha onipa bi tata wato bet ewo ho se wo se ne tibi obeku bomode so be fa numbers ne bu screen ase na woni mi akasa me hwehwe hyebre mu hwi a me bomode se me kire wo ne wo beye Ivan Che innocent Ayeka innocent bokode
nyame adom
ye de nyame ase weekend no a be sisa bre ekoyie
it's full of activities.
Yeah.
We say akwati abasin ko get through the abasin ko and Black Stars also whole lot of activities.
Yeah.
So I think they're so far so good.
Okay. All right. And see and I am kwama ya de hyase no enya ntaban mienu ntaban no dia edikan ye committee no ewie wo madwuma eno mo do mo report ekoma mampanyin recommendation na ewo mu ne se enema miensa na wo mo egina so a wo mo eka se ma me get to Torkonoo kese wabumra so a wo mo etoa so a nyade a ebetimi ayeyie mekan enema na wo mo ekire se wabusunti a baako misbehavior our cause of financial loss and ebi so interference ewo adwuma ni mu nominating Supreme Court judges into my main kind is saying any now the kind unlawful expenditure of public funds and in the kind the committee held that the Chief Justice caused the Judicial Service to pay travel expenses for her husband and daughter during private holiday trip in 2023 including per diem allowances. This, the report stated, was unavoidable and reckless dissipation of public funds. Baako etosubiam abuse of discretionary powers. Committee no so ehun se ono ankasa timi di ni tumi de na adwene ye no near transfer no Bobby Gumisa. The committee found that her handling of the transfer of one Mr. Baden breached Article 296 subsection A and B of the Constitution, describing the acts as misbehavior. Near Tosubium interference in judicial appointment. The report also noted that she sought to bypass the established process for nominating justice
of the Supreme Court, contrary to precedent set in the Ghana Bar Association case. The committee concluded this amounted to misbehavior. And Tababa Kwabeka ho innocent Mami Sophia Akuffu or say adeɛ na ɛkɔ so no be weaken judicial system no na obompa say oba bia na say future yibiansi biem ono is against adeɛ na ɛkɔ so no, and I think say what tie the interviews ne issues are all raising be, and I think Professor Asare so abeke kanadwa chair so a council of state member oath of secrecy ne adeɛ kro take and were breachy for going out to condemn adeɛ council of state of which she is a member. One more aye.
Yeah, the kind of mention na mention what here for, and I mean say outcome by metana wa video so catch us eventually sa na beba because now we tie in seminar na a war petition no more.
Yeah,
it got to a point now there was this deliberate attempt to sway the general public from the actual issues, no. Now you're dabbling in trivialities. You're saying procedural infractions. You're teaching me human rights. So, but the key underpinning issues are nipano afa pen ni paper actual at the competition. You know, you lose focus on. And I felt we go through petition. Man, there was no way you bambe through when you are focusing on the substance because petition na yet. Let me make it clear, say, a muba kope and a Chief Justice a free ho. Mienuna Akano has been suspended because nipa na omo de petition no call and say omo twan so kakra mo and the petition train na e call no a muba kope I am Mr. Daniel Ofori the petition. He stated more than 21 cases of misbehavior and 4 cases of incompetence. And to Kabuma, one and number 25 different allegations. About 21 plus 4 will be 26 25 specific allegations and the board Chief Justice. So now I was suspecting Senka Chief Justice best spending much time now we're dealing with some of the issues rather than dabbling in this trivialities. Yes, I have listened to a lot of conversations. I have so proud after Sanyama way in see, but as at now, Minyanti Obia, what me a pontificate at some constitutional infractions, irregularities, circumventing medias, nobody, including lawyers and your friends. Mami, I walk on as Sophia. All that they are preaching, moral him and no more to president, no. But we are forgetting about the fact that the judiciary is one of the most sensitive organ. Your friends saying, your constitution, and people who are sent there, must discharge their responsibility with integrity, with fairness, with neutrality, with impartiality, and with some way be and let me also say there is no single position under any constitutional rule anywhere in the world that will enjoy absolute power because constitutional framers even in the US envisage the possibility of Nipana and Nipana can engage, do the excesses impugn the integrity. It's the reason why every constitution creating windows in an event because position and Nipa is liable for a lot of things. So the constitutional framers created a window yeti anye ne yakofo obi ba na odi nsemhuna o meka yeso na mo we betimi afa kwan bi so beyi na free ho and there is no constitution that is going to be written even in the future ebeyi that particular clause na free ho because say am not here even the president di nsemhuna parliament has been given power to take the president out. So those of you saying say yen tightening constitution say be in the future no, are you also admonishing say the future people will be responsible because say nipa no bana or behave in a reckless fashion. Now why ironclad in the position now you are indemnifying the person to do nasty stuff, you understand? So instead of cautioning and also making sure say build the firewall around the position Chief Justice, why don't we build a firewall around the individual's attitude and the behavior? Say whoever comes in will come with a refined behavior attitude and could trigger this whole thing. So we have near my cause petition papa na de call President Mahama Makacha says it's just a conveying belt.
Yeah.
That particular petition and or the Council of State, as the Constitution stipulates.
Yeah.
Council of State, Makacha says, has never been an adjudicatory body. How could you say? Or more, the say Constitution is your Constitution, The Constitution says that the President will refer the petition to the Council of State.
Yeah.
Council of State, there is no law be what Ghana I laid down procedures what the Council of State must do, or the processes and everything that they need to go through. All that they need to do is review the petition and see premier facie a woman has to establish a substance. The processes involved over the years, Obia Hunyan Sasa, yen laid down procedures, and I am for certain constitutional instruments, Bimra.
Yeah.
Now yen regularize that particular provision into say a Casa President and forward the petition, come a Council of State. These are the step-by-step process that the Council of State need to go through. So say there is none. So for Akuffu and no them day. She was a Chief Justice. She saw that particular provision that she had opportunity to ensure say regularize that particular provision because you can say petition from Council of State. At the end of Council of State, Because Council of State, they are not judges, they are not lawyers. In as much as we have former we women, it's not a legal entity. So all that they will do per why I said in the Constitution laid down 3 areas. And that's 3 grounds of it for Chief Justice misbehavior, incompetence, and 1. The last one here, infirmity, both body and mind. These are threatened. And so when they come up body on assess here, they are going to assess the competence of the petition in the face of these 3 grounds. Beyond that, because it is not a legal body. So when the Chief Justice started making noise, they say, and a premier facie ruling, ruling bang. Because that particular committee, that particular Council of State, it is not an adjudicatory body.
Yeah.
I ruling the amount copy na kind again. I sat here, I told you at that stage, and this is because that particular process, and your adversarial process, you advances some adverse finding be against you.
Yeah.
Now, you assessing the competence of the petition to know, say, within the threshold of the Constitution, if it's passing that stage, then the proper adjudicatory process will be set in place, and that is what the President did. So that is why I told you, argument and Chief Justice making it didn't make sense. None of them make sense. But now I went through in a way. You could see, I understand why she was making those weird arguments. Then as a phone, I wasn't surprised because you see, so had the interpretation or the two so funny and very mind-boggling because Council of State here in Juma then they refer back to the President. Then if you go to the Constitution, Article 146. I think that it's 10A or 10 something. It's there. 146 downwards now. And what say? Council of State kase petition or grounds. President wa Kenya.
Yeah.
Say oba set up a committee. I'm a committee, I investigate. It's a we can call it quasi judicial or semi-judicial process. Including 2 high Supreme Court judges and other people. They are all 5. Constitution expressly says the President of Kenya to sign a warrant suspending the Chief Justice pending that particular process. So it wasn't said Muhammad Dasori was suspended Chief Justice. A constitutional, discretionary constitutional way, President only, and only he could exercise that. He decided, and Mahama isn't the first person to sign that particular warrant. Makacho said, in the case Justice Derry and 4 others, when Anas accused them and the process was ongoing, when the premier facie was established in their case, President Akuffu signed a warrant and suspended these 4 justices pending investigation. And that's exactly what Muhammad did. So investigation that's a woody for her. Then the Constitution will make that the committee will make the recommendation and the President will follow suit. And don't forget, the President is binded by the Constitution, by the committee's recommendation. That is what the Constitution says. So me beside me who say in all this process, a man for a year and a President Mahama circumvent any of the laid down procedures. I bet you can say, in the first place, my culture said, no precedent under our current constitutional arrangement and the will to me to dismiss or sack any chief justice. You don't have it. But his power of removal only becomes active when an aggrieved Ghanaian send a petition to him. So on removal or be not a grounds near legitimate. The president has a sworn duty to follow through. And yes, you pick and choose. Open as a man as a open as the president is mandated. One yes, it could be a ground for him to be removed. And issues near go to near Babedua. I zoom it down to the petition. I can't want them. So what's here in summer a woman specific allegations. Now one has to do with this paddy. You see, my catcher say the chief justice is not just a chief justice or Supreme Court. You are also the administrative head of the entire judiciary of this country. Integrity, honesty is something that you cannot toy with it. Then the judicial service. Asamna Ayeka na ya manfo free say Mahama ba na omako within sembi no modo so amane da binya sanete. All the time Ayeka say wafa sika no. Eya asama asi I think somewhere 2023. Na aya Ghana audit service. Ghana audit service. Eko hoko audit here. And they find these things and they flag it as irregularities. So it is not Daniel Ofori no only chance on that particular thing and included it in his petition. But the Chief Justice had already been found to have misconducted herself in this manner in the audit report. Audit report now, in the audit report, you know, she was found to say we're misconducting in the usage of that particular money because the Constitution says, so call a private traveler. State in Betia because we are Chief Justice. Yen to mean jail say your private into Kwananam. Enti the old could be a Betia mount. Nambum enam say we are Chief Justice into still what access to the corridors of power into. So unkwa when I'm abonte wa America na so obi kwachi se sia na say unkwa okomiemia wa one here your secretary ya wo ubeda na di achire obi. And in the wisdom of Yamran yesterday ya ukwa for security di wachi sebaya u endanger the national security and I say security bi na se for na obi nko for so ma nko sign document bi ba because wonko na wonam enti for security we see among for interpreting this thing a track but it's what it means because in our law no ye nya de bia just for fun and your Chief Justice say no ho afentin na ma soja ni wachi no and yet because of this because we a Chief Justice obetimi akofo so ma ko sign just a whole lot of niam obetimi aye na one for so kwa no omumiamia okon na say Ghana security ko keka say be higher
national security
exactly so mo shemra na say o kwa for security bi wachi na woni ne nko on na ni ate nipa bia and security na me de economy me betena ncha na me de meba umuma akọ. Common sense should tell you say this way is unacceptable coming from somebody who is supposed to discharge integrity at the uttermost level. The Chief Justice of this country. Yes, sir. You may sit somewhere and say, oh, wait there, but beneath it, within you, it tells you the kind of person you are. And we security in China or Neba. Neba or Nico US, I just take it like an automano. Take it in a man for top business class, I can see, then that ticket was upgraded. Minim so Kotana play no, I went no so dear minim. And I said, the pilot no Kotana pilot because she paid over 1 billion in tickets and on the US. 1 billion. How many young ladies? Me bana me nam krom na me hu enkra mayo omo so pia wata akra hye na chia na me wura ho. But because obi na ma me Chief Justice ntino take it na ya ta ma na ya upgrade enti e bia alukre no wins no na okwatena so bia upgrade ya be free pray no ba kwatena we ana ya never na ya business class I upgrade there. Say obaka kwatena play. Kwatena pam na obi ahu say na member no Chief Justice daughter. And your boss akawe. Okoye no na osan tia per diem every day. Exactly. You don't do this. Common sense should tell you that idea we are is not in line with even principles of your but she breached these things. I never cope. There no samba biem no or Tanzania. And also security no police ni bi obi ohia ni ba bi asabi nko obedi wachi anka ono so benya dollar na kakra ti na chi no and ono so tam ni si nchen na wotam kunu de sim and at the same entitlements or tam the man no. And if a Chief Justice can do some of these things in security, do you know the obetimi aye And can you trust this person to be dispensing justice? These are some of the things I'm for the emotions I can say. These are the key issues, and there are other issues. I don't want to even tackle it. You say, "Oh, award judicial service now, award contract." Common sense will tell you some of these things. You don't do it anywhere. And chair and I Akuffu form about this family and friends conflict of interest. You don't do these things, and these are some of the things that she did. So for Akuffu, is she aware? And you see, these people are hypocrites, and you know what? Obia are you worried about Torkonoo will go through the process constitutional because she couldn't pontificate at a single constitutional infraction occasion. I will go through a constitutional process. Not seeing the buafu or you're worried about. Not on your worried about President Akuffu or Tamobia or your MPP ni our contest our whole central what fairly na ya tam no na Supreme Court we your man boy for. You know that when the judiciary became so dirty in this country, and some of us were all over talking about it, post be on Ben Abontimbi and said that we were losing the judiciary. It became so dirty to the sense that people didn't want to associate. Social media and other platforms are enough. Ruling every Supreme Court babontia ordinary person to know to say anyansa ni ruling and kwara na ma ya na se mpanimfo obekwana nipa omonyi na mobile the platform and a woman that particular ruling. Because how do you tell me say traveling passport can vindicate an asset me Ghana ni but the innate birth certificate no cannot. When the event said ade adobakwa passport no your birth certificate and several other rulings asem no court you can predict ma me no enche date e be ma asem no twam asem bi kwa ade chi ya no wa date. When you do some of these things you don't inspire confidence, you don't engender trust and hope in the institution, and the nearman na all yen nyina was to destroy the fabrics of our judiciary. So for Akuffu, I think that some of these people, we just need to excuse them, and you can understand her. Then as a forum, until so betting about boss, any or she's entitled to her opinion. And as a forum, I respect her for expressing the opinion. Yeah, again. So what case in you say just question issue no. Maybe I can't you petition no. Omote court way dear Samado, my hands are national security for Abawura. Now you're two computer, you're two way, judge to hold dear Samo, you're more be an answer 222. Omoto 2 year na Mrantia no omoto na yasan tam omodo omko national security ko miamia omo menim do omodo say Ghana head okọ national security on the day o. Say omo tempered evidence ne nasefo no. And sa nkrofo we wo mo kokotena afie. Emma ya set up a committee by the Judicial Council atena asehwe hu say adwuma amudi di nkrofo omu ni for enti munja amo no momra back omo ba ya na ma me transfer no to Tamale ofa we ya na transfer no to her for Christ's sake. Judicial Mama Japade na enyo papa Japade na what sound dey ansem hunu no. These people na committee na exonerate omo no, you should even apologize to them for mistreating them. So as a boss of an institution, you cannot be doing some of these things, and these are the realities. I'm far with fear what do you say Ghana these are some of the things she did on personal level no. So if a chief justice can be behaving in this highly reprehensible manner, can you trust that person to head the judiciary? And the funny aspect, you see, some of the professors in this country, you see, sometimes I am no. Kasano ya doson. You see, me say obi say ya yinikeke as a chief justice. Now bet me go back to the bench. Nkura asem we ha kan. I am gu manu asem. Munya sa na man na nkure na nkura ni atio. Since I no kan na wadwene ho. Nkura kenkan. Yes, yeah. So these are some of the things that or transfer amount for na wa transfer we, and cases in Mijawa. I think that there are a lot of for their bond. So I was looking at the point somebody will wake up and say, oh, allegations no more raising are frivolous. Allegations no any substance. But my man spending the time, even breaking the law the more. The last time I told you say petition way and go through on one casa occasion another grounds for her removal because so okay constitution now. Okay, say this whole process must be heard in camera. Meaning say and yes in camera. It's because of the sanctity of the institution, Constitutional framework started wise making sure say Niama air cost because IGP anyway some of the hearing was done in camera. Because of how sensitive some of these things are enti asem na yesi yin tie no camera no Chief Justice is angry because of free say John Mahama ne NDC for a hound no and we tie nsem na all can na or sometimes it's funny na watam petition ne nkrata ne nyina akwa gina TV so your press conference are you emotionally intelligent can you trust that person to be your Chief Justice na say nibufu do you know what that person can do we see some of these signs you know show some level of intellectual weakness, how emotionally the person is unstable, and why you cannot trust such a person. Because this is a person who has demonstrated being an open court, an open banter between on it. Your friends say, so police in here or a lawyer, a cologo.
Yeah.
And that banter no, and say I'm not here. Sideline, you know, so I na the police for someone channel. Because when I walk to me, and utie a man for no more court room where I never come with the body say, oh munipa. We see there are certain category of people they look down on people. As a men a macro school now there now we do there. We na say about public who so chin na no. Oh as a obi there ya aboa bi. My catch say ya say aboa na ntakra na man ya fan say. Kese. Wherever you are bia nipo mo twa ho ahia.
Yeah.
You cannot look down on people, impugn people, and things that you can rise. Now, we rise by lifting others. I inspire me a lot.
Yeah.
But our people don't see some of these things or get into a position. But now say, oh, he's the new god in town, so better than Obia. You don't do these things. So it doesn't matter where you are. Ubeja position no hako. Remember the say even say 1 minute grant abenya be good, treat people well. Sabi obi be kan ho asemiye. But judicial service no one kasa ni nkro for kwa no could not even stand in for her because they wanted her out. And again, so who the behavior the relationship between Ono and the other judges. This is a woman all the asem no court no. Or say your friend is saying justice for other people and yet your friend is saying
fine.
And they cannot be fair. So the administrative head of the judiciary is saying over the years, you know, only people they have the potency to be biased and she knows they are biased. And now I say I can be biased right now. Jaduru no so no or more bias be bedino. And then Sophia Akuffu is saying, oh, the process is not fair. And I fair. We Chief Justice, no, not Constitution and China and Rao. And I'm a boy. And I had the free China and the buy. The Constitution has been there. You apply and you Charlotte say you demand coffee. You the lamte. Mahunse Amanfo says it's a novelty. It's not a novelty. This particular process has been applied. You see, individuals no musishim no, and they're different. But the process has for long been used in this country. So maybe some amena, ordinary na fair no. Torkonoo ba no. Na ona no ya kra Supreme Court. Na ni mpanim for Panamine na for but two more bench. But she was handpicked by president to become a Chief Justice. So was it fair?
No.
So there's no argument of fair bang because Constitution has been there. We are only applying it. So our lawyers today telling us we must jettison the Constitution and begin to say so yamfa emotions and as yamfa nipa me pen asem na asefo na nya na emra ono na kan say the law is the law. So me I don't have any issue and people who are saying say a bad president in the future. So obi be Chief Justice not na no din semhuna Samahama appoint obi so Chief Justice na oba na o sha say din semhuna afan foforo ba yenyinum yo no
onu kra be kai say semhuna mi di mra wo ho
exactly. So those talking about president you see they are just jumping over the whole discussion. We should be looking at quality in the discharge of our duty. Now what you know here adwumaden ya hwana baka say me pam wo na say Mahama ba independent bodies enya we nkwa na ho aku aba so ye na adwuma ono o perceive o peba area ba ko a na asem wo ho pa na manfo free say Mahama ba be pam no na ye the auditor general ba ko mo ye na adwuma Mami animguasifo yo mugu electoral commission so mo yo mo adwuma. So it's not as if say obi tan obi ana so obi ye we ade na edi wa diu nsam no wunya kwanya efra amanfo mo ko testify na so ni nyina amfa because you couldn't prove say why I wo private lawyer you say for security di wachi you endanger national security. China obi anchew.
Yeah.
And now for so obi am for so, but nka 2 occasions obi for so wa. Nka be put everybody in Ghana in danger. That is the gravity of nsama Ayeka. And people ignorantly see someone say nsam na mo kan no ano nyede na nka ontwese kan kotwa obi ti ansa. Ontwese kan kotwa obi ti e wo ho ansa na yahu asam no. You see, we play too much in this country. So me, from where I sit, I have for long been worried about the sanctity of your judiciary. And over the years, you know, say your judiciary had the gatam. Kwanya ye faswa na ye sesa amamfo koguso. Kwanya appointment na nyansa ni ma na ye. It got to a point that Ghana for eni ahotoso e wo ye court mu. E say amamfo ye solve it. I don't for ye bi. Minim some platform or run and some other platform run bi. Now you see bastardization, insult, or more a heap on the most sensitive institution.
Yeah.
Judiciary was subjected to public mortification, ridicule. But yeah, subject of public ridicule. Unanimous 3, unanimous 4. This is the judiciary.
Yeah.
Sophia Akuffu, she wasn't worried about that. She wasn't worried about the fact that a failed parliamentary candidate was appointed to sit on the bench. She wasn't worried, say, among for the Asama court, say, Yamfreda, Afenoma Kendini, the following day. And portrayed by us, and judiciary no be a bussy japadia. Now, but now, but din some huno. Samahama appointed to be Ochana. Now, Obano bedin some huna. You know, we will rise against the person and get the person out. And I'm against those who are saying, say, we should amend the constitution and make sure, say, it becomes impossible. Now, say, you could obino chono din some huna. And the person will terrorize the entire nation. Exactly. So we need to make it flexible to do the right thing.
Exactly.
And some year what petition 21 specific allegations of misbehavior. Menya da de crown go through. Consam na ewom no e bi airtime na se for no. Enti ababeduru haya, I think say President Mahama followed through the constitution, onyam breach any provision, and I challenge any lawyer out there to point to a single constitutional infraction I occasioned thus far the process was activated. I challenge any of them, apart from those singing the emotional hymns that can continue to sing. But if anybody our legitimate grounds, I actually say President Mahama the process now activated that far, no breaching any constitutional provision. They should come forward with it. And then it's not as if that Mahama I'm fighting this whole process. Are you dissatisfied? No. Court no. Or there are some cohort almost 3 occasions. Emma court na catch them Mahama grow na yedi no how. You are born in something you know to go. Ama Justice Amadou, your friend saying Tanko, the ruling back na it was very interesting. Justice near worried about the fact to say Omoan Kaso Mu Chief Justice accuse you almost say they cannot be. One day I'll bring you the ruling. On why your word say Omoan Kaso Mu Chief Justice accuse you almost say they cannot be fair. They are worried about the fact that Chief Justice Ayeka almost say a constitutional provision should be waived. Now I didn't go TV so because other way so we see law school them that you know say no court so not even the Supreme Court and a bit because it is an explicit constitutional provision locked in the Constitution. You need to do a constitutional change and a review and so what to me and this all the obedience court say yama adenoma TV so then her understanding of the law no is a bit twisted and I say emotions are taking a better part of it because a constitutional provision. For instance, Emrane say we are president of Ghana, President Mahama will be 2 terms. Constitution is over 2 terms. So that's why President Mahama atam court to say Supreme Court to say or no person 3rd term to Supreme Court emanin 3rd term. Is it possible? Can the Supreme Court vary a constitutional provision?
No.
When it is explicit, it's not an implicit something that you need to struggle to read to put interpretation. This is clear in the face of it. Osha say that. Can President Mahama go to Supreme Court and tell them say yen change the 10 or no? Can you do that?
You can't.
So if a Chief Justice say a constitutional provision should be varied, that is what I'm telling you. So her level of understanding so far as the law is concerned, it's a bit skewed and questionable. So I think that the oye ni drama na oye ni me odigu na ni mase because as me last na me catch akwa say your friends say come in nam station ya bona suma bo no otiatia ma okowura no ni ma bia offer. And that is exactly what happened to her. Makacha say asem sina person who nyansa for just wait for a trouble day. How you conduct, compose, react to heavy circumstances and they determine say indeed this person is smart, intelligent or not. Asem si obi anim nyansa, we see obi abonta man for a coat na so for koba that asem besi no. That is when you'll be able to separate the men from women. What I say? So I think the Chief Justice in some na akwa ba ni nyina no. De be wi na ba wi no. Ono an kasa na bra ba oboye. Ehun awie na aba no because da bia betu amanfo unya position manya wadwen say wote ho forever because say wo nyansani a wote na ho afa kwa menkron and say the picture cover office da bi say an say oh he fine ne enti the little that you can do it serve people right make sure say woni amanfo menyansa mem front nipa kon so na wo na wo sika dan makwa nya na to bia na obi adi what I say and me I don't respect people because of your position. I don't respect you because you are a minister. I don't respect you because you are president. I respect you for who you are as a person and how you treat people, your deed.
Yeah.
I mean, you can never force me to respect you because you're a minister and no, I don't do that. I respect you for who you because honorable. No, I'm for the honorable tea. And we don't baby you don't want fool. Yeah. Or your former Afarijan who know anything.
Yeah, it's all you're not fool.
Oh, no, you're not fool, baby. What I say? These are titles. They are temporal, but who you are can never change. You understand?
Sure.
So, let us use the opportunity to tell people, say, wherever you are, treat people good, serve well, and make sure that you leave an indelible mark. The idea na on person to say, obey a chief justice yapam no, by yapamo entitlement and na also who say your friend is saying. On resign and no and that resign. Oh, so those of you saying say she can come back as a judge, you know, I'm saying Bibi Hamo because somebody who has been flagged for misbehavior.
Yeah,
you see, Chief Justice, being a Chief Justice, any being a Supreme Court judge, you know, people should know. So the most important factor, being a Supreme Court judge first, because you need that before you become
Chief Justice.
The Chief Justice is just an administrative role. It has nothing to do with law. What I say, if it is about behavior, now obi ya memfa say CEO wakoto no wakwachi akra na oneneda yesi apam no as a CEO of a hospital na mom onko hospital hansan konko ya adwuma doctor. So this is as simple as that. Even the president letter kra na otrom, she has been removed both as a justice of the Supreme Court and as a your friend saying Chief Justice. And for me, yes, she has the right to do whatever. Says in seminar or the Akuffu still Ayeka was the Munyam Frey to saw and several other cases. She can use all the legitimate constitutional avenues to seek redress if she thinks say and name but from me where I sit, I think say the law was followed to the letter.
Okay.
There hasn't been any attempt of really circumventing any law. There hasn't been any procedural errors on one and in her twisted imaginations and all building those buffers just to buy convenience. Have you seen any serious-minded person out there defending her? That's why your advocacy group your think tank and apart from some people in the MPP who are guilty of doing the same thing. My friend saying, lady, your friend is saying, easy bossy, I do Okroma say. About this. Everybody is certified because Makato said for Ghana the most important thing in this whole discussion is our judiciary. We don't care about any other individual. Now we are concerned about saving the integrity, and I'm urging President Mahama to go ahead and prune the judiciary because you see appointment Akuffu from the High Court and then as a forum to top and not the ketwa and now we are young to your new magistrate and lower court me say enkwase ruling na man 40 asia where no who be a yem be show ruling so what now we go through some of the lower court now we ruling everywhere back we yem be show I think that's a country but I am crossing here for no obi anka o masem some of these cases travel to the Supreme Court. That Supreme Court about to go because Daniel Ofori issue and started, I think, on a Stanbic Bank. Started about best, yes, a case that traveled about 17 years ago. Or the first until Sebedu Topper.
Thanks, Vast DGH.
People are doing down there. I was a court. Or judge to any boot me for be a court to go to Breu.
Thanks, Was DGH.
We need to sanitize the judiciary, and the President Mahama has a duty to do that. And you need somebody responsible at the top to do some of these things. And I think that say institution be any judiciary now, I'll be satisfied. Because justice is the most important thing. I guarantee democracy anywhere in the world.